What's going on, guys? I'm Andrew.
I'm Jason.
And this is Movie Source.
Today we're going to be doing our spoiler review for Deadpool.
Alright, guys, so just fair warning, this is going to be a heavy spoiler review. If you haven't seen this film yet, please pause this video, put it on your watch later list, and come back after you've seen the film.
And if you want to watch our non-spoiler review for this movie, you can click right here.
Last warning, guys. Alright, so as we talked about, we had a non-spoiler review where we said, I love this movie. In fact, I saw it a second time, Jason, and I can now say it's by far, it's one of my favorite comic book films I've ever seen. Because, I felt like, yes, it was an amazing action film in the comedy, and it was incredible. At the center of its core, it's just an amazing love story, and it's like I was just so invested in the characters, and I just never thought of a film like this. I'd be so invested in these characters. I knew the action would be good. I had a feeling with a Ryan Reynolds film, the comedy would be pretty good.
Yeah.
But the way that they made me connect with the story and the characters, they just did a brilliant job.
I love the opening credits of this movie so much. They just get you laughing right away. They go straight into it, where they're like, overpaid douchebag for the director, or
overpaid tool,
and the hot chick, and the sexiest man alive, or whatever it was.
And then they also had British villain,
another British villain, yeah,
and moody teen.
Exactly,
so
yeah.
Funny.
That just let you know this movie was so self-aware of itself right from the get-go. I've never seen a movie do anything like that.
I've never seen a movie make me laugh so hard on an opening credit sequence, and you could tell right when we saw the opening credits, you knew what kind of movie we were in for. It's a different kind of superhero film, or a different kind of movie in general. Like you said, I've never seen opening credits be so self-referential and make fun of themselves like that.
And it shows Ryan Reynolds on an actual magazine,
and the Green
sexiest
Lantern
man alive.
too.
Yeah, just making jokes, other references to other movies and just the world right away. I've never seen anything do that. And I love also too how he's Deadpool already right away. They kind of get into the action right away, and this was an origin story type of movie, but they kind of went back in time a little bit of non-linear storytelling, and they did it pretty well, and I thought it worked pretty well for this movie.
Yeah, no, you said it well. The non-linear storytelling, when not done right, it can be very ineffective. But when done right, like this film, it was done really well because, like you said, we didn't have to go into a crazy origin tale. We already knew who Wade Wilson was. And in fact, all the scenes showed us when we went in flashbacks is he's the same dude. The only thing that's changed is now he's got cancer all over his face and body.
And he wears a suit.
And he wears the suit. But now he's got regeneration powers. But underneath the suit, he's still the same Wade Wilson. That's what I love about the movie. Being a superhero does not change him. He's still the same guy. When the scenes where he's with the pizza stalker.
Oh yeah,
it was so funny. It was great comedic timing again by Ryan Reynolds, and also I think we're gonna talk about in our Easter eggs. If you noticed on the pizza, it said Feige's Pizza. Kevin Feige, the producer of the MCU series, so that was really cool. The way they infused the humor in the action scenes, it was just brilliantly done. I love when he's like, I got 12 bullets, let's count them down. And then you see, in the shots, you see the bullets with the countdown, 12, 11, 10.
Yeah.
Also, I love Deadpool's humor when he's killing guys. He's like, he tried, one guy shot him in the ass, and he's like, right up Main Street, and then he shoots him in the head, and then he shoots the guy another 3 times. He's like, bad decision, worth it. And then he misses another guy, and he goes, bad Deadpool, and then he hits him, he goes, good Deadpool. Just again, the way the humor is used in the action. I haven't really seen a film, with that kind of intense action sequences where they use the humor so brilliantly that it offsets a little of the action to where you're laughing when a guy's being beheaded. I never thought I'd laugh at a scene when a guy's being beheaded.
And the action was really sick. When
amazing.
He jumps off the bridge, lands on the car, and then you see everything, and you actually see a lot of stuff happening, which is really well done. And all the scenes where he's flipping around and he shoots the 3 guys in the head with the bullet,
And also too, I think that the scene where he's jumping in the escalator, that was the test footage that had been released before the film had been actually okayed by 20th Century Fox. So I love how they used the test footage and I remember when I saw that test footage, I don't know if you had seen it, Jason. I was like, I want to see this movie so bad, and to actually see it on the big screen, really fully realize.
Yeah.
And the way they were using the humor, like I said, in just into the action was just, it's perfect. I loved it.
Ryan Reynolds was just the perfect actor to play Deadpool. Yes. He cares about this character so much. He really wanted to get this movie made And so, wasn't he like producer of this movie?
Yeah, he's been trying to get this movie made for the last 10 years, I believe.
Because it's just the perfect amount of like sarcasm and vulgarity, just that's perfect for his kind of humor.
No, you and I were talking about it after we'd seen the film too. We're like, I can't see anybody else who could have played this role. I'm sure there's other comic book roles that I can't think of at this very time, but the only other comic book role that's right now hitting me, I can think the two best comic book roles where the actor just really embodies the character. For me, is Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, Heath Ledger as the Joker, and now Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. I'm not saying he's as good as it's totally different roles. I'm just talking about the actor embodying the character so well, to the point where, like, I still saw Ryan Reynolds, but I wasn't looking for him.
To the point where you can't really imagine anyone else being that character. There's one other I can think of, and they reference him a lot in this movie.
Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Absolutely. Dude, we got to mention, Hugh Jackman is such a trooper and amazing person to allow them to make this much fun of him. You know, you got from where he puts the face on when he staples his thing, and then and then they're talking about
there's a lot of references to that X-Men movie that Deadpool was in that obviously didn't do very well, and so does Mouth Shut, and so he obviously hated being affiliated with that movie, and they definitely made that known.
I think the only thing that would have made this a little better is if he actually had an actual cameo in this film.
That would have been funny.
I would have like flipped on crazy. As Wolverine or Hugh Jackman, I would have been
either
cool
way,
with one.
Yeah.
All right, and also we got to mention the self-references in this movie were so funny and they were brilliant. Like when he goes to to Professor X's house, the X-Men mansion, and Negasonic Teenage Warhead answers the door and he says, "Ripley from Alien 3?" Perfect. And then she says, "Fuck, you're old." And then they just start going into a banner. And then at the end of it, he goes, "How come you'd think there would be more X-Men here? I guess the studio couldn't afford any for this franchise." Or something. Just
the self-awareness. Even talking about the movie itself and their own producers and money and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know. It was brilliantly done. And also, I love how Colossus was like, "Is that Deadpool?" Like, just the banter between those three was just hysterical, and I loved it.
And then when they're on the bridge, and he's like, "We're taking you to the professor," and he's like, "Which one's McAvoy or Stewart?"
I get confused by the timeline. That's brilliant. Yeah. It's so self-aware. I love it. I've never really seen a film that's so self-aware like this.
It's a movie that doesn't take itself so seriously to the fact that it can't reference things not in the movie.
But then when you go back to its story and you see the core where it's just it is serious and like there's a lot of stakes in it, which I love how they can just go from, switch it to such a funny movie and then go back to, go back into this love story that we're so connected and invested in. I just thought they did a great job.
It's kind of like it's a movie that doesn't know what tone it wants to take, but they just do it so unbelievably well that it works perfectly.
It didn't bother me in any way. No. In fact, I thought they did it so seamlessly where they changed tone. So for sure.
And it's not like it was just a sudden switch. It just was smooth and even throughout.
Yeah.
And in the serious scenes, there was still that humor element going.
Also, we gotta mention the chemistry between all the actors is incredible. I can't think of any performances in this film where I'm like, I don't buy the relationship between that person. I don't buy the chemistry, or I don't buy the performances of the actors, in the scene together. And obviously, the highlight, as we mentioned earlier, was Ryan Reynolds and Morena Baccarin. And they're, again, as we said earlier, their love and the way they portray their roles, you just really buy it. It started all with the quips on where they're talking about whose life is shittier. I thought that was just brilliantly well played. And they're like, your bag of crazy is my bag of crazy. The way they did that nudity scene with them throughout the holidays where he's like, Happy New Year, and then Happy Thanksgiving, and then Happy Chinese New Year, and then when they do the Happy National Women's Day and she's got a dildo and a strap on, and then he's like, no. So funny. I mean, but the way they shot it with like showing their relationship develop over time, I just thought it was brilliant. It made me more invested in the characters. Montage. I didn't think in 3 minutes I could be so invested in characters, and they just did it so seamlessly.
Yeah.
I can't believe how invested I got so quickly with these characters. It was impressive.
Yeah.
So, and I also, again, I love the way they made the filmmaking of that nudity scene, not the strap-on part, but just the part where the way they're showing like how time is elapsing right now. Yeah. It's pretty easy to follow. So I thought they did a really good job doing that.
T.J. Miller as Wizzle was another perfect fit. Just his dialogue between him and Wade was just so funny, and they're talking about, and he's at the beginning like he bets on him to die in the Deadpool, which shows their friendship, but also how the relationship works, where they can be real with each other. Just like, I thought you were gonna die, man.
Well, I know, and he also wanted money too.
Yeah, of course. And that's what he thought, and at the same time, Wade wasn't that mad at him for it. He's like, oh fuck you, man.
Yeah, he accepts him for it, but no, it's funny, and also too, he understands in the line work of mercenary. That's stuff like that does happen, but he just didn't expect his friend to bet on him, is what he's saying. But no, the dialogue between them. I was afraid to, and I wasn't afraid, but I felt like those two were going to be my favorite, in terms of banter between each other.
Mhm.
I'd say my only thing I was worried about coming into the film, are they going to do too much? And
Yeah,
I
go
felt like
overboard. They
I
didn't.
felt like they did just the right amount.
Another thing, I thought the marketing campaign for this movie was amazing.
And
Like, one of the best ever.
Absolutely, and credits and kudos. Ryan Reynolds was actually one of the ones in charge of the marketing team. So him and the other few people, or however many people was that were helping him out, like kudos to Ryan Reynolds and those guys. Me personally, this is the best marketed film I've ever seen. I think the second best for me is The Dark Knight, where they were doing like Joker cards and the Harvey Dent vote for him. That stuff was amazing too. But this topped it, between the Ryan Reynolds and the Halloween stuff, and just throughout the seat. It was just the best and the Valentine's Day posters. It was such an amazingly marketed film.
Yeah,
it was just a great marketing thing. I hope other studios and other comic book films as well, even learn from this type of marketing, because it was brilliant. We got to mention the Al in the film, Blind Al. So funny. Again, the chemistry and the banter between them.
The old woman who he lives with, basically.
Yes, exactly. The blind old lady that Wade Wilson lives with. And I love their relationship too, because she's blind. She can't see him and judge him, and he doesn't judge her in any way as well. And they have a close bondship together. Like the scene
They're like
where
cuddling up
the scene
together,
where he's cuddling up and he's like with the little hand. It made me think of Scary Movie too, where my germs, and then he made the masturbation joke where he's like, it's gonna feel extra big in this hand tonight, and then he's like. Their relationship and their chemistry was just spot on.
She was just able to put up with all his BS and stuff like that.
Right, but also too, she was, she made mention like, you need to go see this woman. Like, she was vital to the story as well. She wasn't just a throwaway character for Ryan Reynolds to have some jokes with. She actually, she cared for Wade and she wanted him to be happy too. But the funniest part, dude, I'm sorry, the funniest part, when I'm so invested in this character, is when she's at the laundromat when they haven't really met and he's washing out the blend. She's like, wear a red suit, dumbass.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just gonna say.
Already.
She's the one who actually made the mention for him to wear a red suit. So.
And we gotta mention that suit, Jason. I love that suit so much.
I love it too. I wish they actually would have shown a little bit more. They showed him stitching it up and stuff. I'm like, damn, he is really good at making suits apparently, because this suit was definitely awesome.
Right, and the way they used his eyes, I gotta imagine that was CGI.
I think it was, but
and it actually it's not Ryan Reynolds' face on the mask, but you can tell it looks like his face. And again, the way they use the eyes to where
when the jaw structure too.
Well, yeah, but when he's sad, you can see his eyes get sad. When he's you can tell when he's pissed, you can see the eyes. I love how they used it. It was really, again, when they do CGI to where I can't tell it's CGI, I can only speculate. That's when I'm happy, because it's not taking me out of the film.
Yeah, really well done.
Also, we got to talk about Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead. I love how they made a connection to the X-Men universe. I was kind of worried too, a little going in the film, how are they going to infuse a PG-13 universe with a rated R? And the way they did it was brilliant, because anytime Deadpool splattered someone's brains or guts, Colossus, or he used foul language, Colossus foul language, watch it, because he's from a PG-13 universe.
Yep.
It makes total sense why he would be offended by language. And then when he's giving Deadpool the speech when he's got the gun to Francis's head, and he's like, "Oh, this is what the hero should do." And we all know he's gonna shoot him and kill him.
As he was going on that, he's gonna.
But when he shoots him and kills him, Colossus then pukes and he's like, "Why?" I'm like, that's brilliant, because Colossus is not used to seeing blood and guts everywhere. The X-Men don't do that. They're in a PG-13 universe.
I just think that's Colossus's character a little bit too. He is all proper and just kind of a PG-13 type of guy. You know what I mean?
But I just thought it was brilliant how they infused that he's from a PG-13 universe and he's not used to this kind of violence, or the gore at least. So I thought that was brilliant in the language. Very smartly done there. And Negasonic Teenage Warhead, the banter between her and Wade was amazing. Also, I love seeing her powers when she was
she was cool,
pushing trucks and stuff with using her. Or I think I got to read more about her powers. I forgot what she was using, but
she creates a lot of energy.
Right. Yeah. But whatever, she was badass. I didn't think I'd care this much for the characters. And I'm not saying I was totally invested in her character, but just from what she did in the film and using her powers, I bought into her character. I loved Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
And she didn't have to say much too, but that was kind of her character. And then Ryan Reynolds' dialogue sort of worked against her non-dialogue to make you kind of, okay, this is how she is.
For sure. Also, we got to mention Francis in this, or Ajax rather. He was awesome. Now, the first time I saw this, I liked him a lot, actually. And this time, I love him even more. He's just really menacing. Between the scenes of him throwing Wade in the oxygen tank and suffocating him, and then he's leaning over, he's like, "What's my name?" He's just really menacing, and just I bought his motivations. I bought him as a character. The performance was fantastic, and you felt a sense of danger every time he was on screen for Wade Wilson. Even though you know the character's got regeneration powers, and you know it's a superhero film, he's probably going to survive. But still, I felt a lot of danger and tension for Wade whenever they were on screen together. And that's the action scenes between him and Deadpool were amazing. I love the choreography in those scenes. They're incredible.
Yeah, and Angel Dust too was a pretty good character. She didn't have that many lines of dialogue.
Gina Carano.
Maybe just a couple lines, but yeah, she was a good sidekick to Ajax, and she was strong, and just it worked. Like she kind of was fighting Colossus and Negasonic while Deadpool was fighting Francis. So
yeah,
it was just a good kind of bad guy combo to go with the heroes combo.
For sure. Just to add on to your point, look, she's not the greatest actress in the world, which clearly shows because she only had 2 lines in the whole film, but she served a purpose in the film. She had to make it a believable fight against Colossus, and I just don't know if another actress could have, made it believable, because she is an MMA fighter, and I believe she dated Henry Cavill. Fun fact. But no, she was also in Fast and Furious 6, if I remember. But no, again, I bought that battle between her and Colossus. Like, I didn't care that her character didn't have a ton of dialogue in the film. You saw her as a badass, and the superhero landing where she jumped down Ryan Reynolds, or rather it's Deadpool's like, watch, here comes the superhero landing. Here comes the superhero landing. Oh, you shouldn't do that. That hurts your knees. Be careful about it, or whatever he said. Just so funny. And again,
I feel like they're making fun of Marvel movies a little bit, like when Iron Man or Captain America always lands like that. I feel like they're kind of poking fun at that a little bit.
Right. Well, that's your interpretation, but that's a funny way to look at it. Also, we got to mention that battle at the end is on a helicarrier from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Again, the self-references and just putting stuff in like that. I noticed that the second time. I didn't notice that the first time. I was like, holy crap, that's from the MCU. It's a helicarrier. We gotta mention the Easter eggs. Now, I'm sure we're gonna miss a ton of Easter eggs. We're just going off the top of our head what we remember. There
were a lot.
Yeah, there were a ton. The ones that I remember, we said it earlier in the video, there was Feige's Pizza, referencing Kevin Feige, the producer of the MCU.
The Green Lantern cards in the beginning of the credits, and all the magazines where it showed Hugh Jackman or Ryan Reynolds.
Right. Also, too, on the Deadpool board, if you noticed, it said number 1, Charlie Sheen, number 2, Bill Cosby, and then number 3, Wade Wilson. That was hysterical.
Yeah, just multiple references to different actors such as Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman. As we said before, Patrick Stewart and James McAvoy as Professor X. Yeah, that one was one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, and we gotta mention the Stanley cameo. Now, for me personally,
that's great.
Yeah, we could have an argument about this, but I don't want to get into it. Me personally, it's my favorite Stanley cameo, just on entertainment value alone. I'm sure there might be a better one.
Definitely one of my top ones. Too.
Yeah, it was. I can only imagine how that conversation went. Like,
it was just the setting in which he was in. He was like in the strip club.
He's a DJ in a strip club. But I'm saying the conversation between the studio and Stan, like, what's my cameo in this? You're gonna be a DJ in a stripper club.
Yeah,
I'm in. Like Excelsior, perfect. When I saw him in that cameo, I was like, yes, this is amazing. This is the best cameo. I thought it was brilliant. It was really well played. So, also the end credit scene, the homage,
the Ferris Bueller. That was one of the first fourth wall end credit scenes.
Right.
So it was perfect for this movie because this movie's all about fourth wall breaks. So
yeah, no, we didn't really get into the fourth wall breaking in this. This is my favorite rendition of fourth wall breaking since Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Wayne's World. Those films were brilliantly done where those characters are talking to the audience. And then we get more invested when they talk to us, and we're also thinking a lot what they're thinking. So I thought it was brilliantly done. Also in that end credit scene, they made mention that Cable's going to be in the sequel. I'd actually heard before that Cable was most likely going to be in the sequel, so that wasn't a shocker for me, but that was cool. But the part where he mentions, do you think we were going to have Samuel L. Jackson in an eye patch? You don't have that kind of money. So funny. And again, the
another self-reference, yep.
So funny. This movie just was not afraid to take risks, and that's what I respected about it.
That's what set it apart, kind of, because no movie I've seen in a long time, if at all, has really been like this, where it makes so many references to the outside world and other comic book movies that it's going up against.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's one of my, as I said in the beginning of this review, it's one of my favorite comic book movies I've ever seen. I can't wait to see this a few more times, get more Easter eggs, get more jokes. The repeat value on this film is just really there. And also, again, the acting is amazing. The direction is great. The pacing is very quick. The humor is incredible.
So good.
The action is amazing. The relationships and the performances, you buy them so much. And the story, it's a very good, well-told love story.
Yeah,
I agree. I'm giving this movie a 9.4 out of 10.
I'm giving it a 9.5 out of 10. Alright guys, well that's going to do it for this video. Please let us know what you thought about this movie in the comment section below. If you want to see our non-spoiler review, you can check that out right here. And we're also going to be having a full analysis, scene-by-scene breakdown of the movie coming up pretty soon, so just be on the lookout for that as well. If you want to see that and all of our other videos, you can hit the subscribe button.
See you guys next time.